To Colorado now, where a man is on trial facing accusations that he killed his fiancée. Prosecutors say Patrick Frazee murdered Kelsey Berreth. The 29-year-old woman was last seen in public on Thanksgiving Day of last year. Frazee has pleaded not guilty. Nikki Battiste reports that jurors have been hearing testimony from a woman who was Frazee's secret girlfriend.
During most of her testimony, she was holding back tears. She was letting tears go.
CBS affiliate KKTV reporter Ashley Franco was in the courtroom Wednesday as Crystal Lee took the stand.
It looked like she was giving herself time to get the answers out, but she was definitely struggling through it.
Lee was Patrick Frazee's secret girlfriend. She says Frazee asked her to kill the mother of his child, Kelsey Berreth, 3 times. And when she didn't, he did. Lee testified that Frazee told her he beat his fiancée to death with a baseball bat on Thanksgiving Day, and that Berreth's last words were, "Please stop." After the murder, Lee says Frazee called her and said she had a mess to clean up.
Crystal Lee says that when she walked into Kelsey Berreth's townhome, she saw blood everywhere. She was cleaning up this massive crime scene.
Lee claims she drove from Idaho to Colorado and cleaned up the crime scene because Frazee told her to, and she feared for her life. A few days after the murder, Lee says she watched as Frazee burned a black tote bag that he told her contained Berreth's body and the baseball bat. More than 20 witnesses have been called to the stand so far. Earlier this week, a prosecution expert testified that a neighbor's surveillance camera captured Frazee 11 times at Berreth's condo the day she disappeared. The defense argued it's not clear if the person was Frazee. Franco says jurors have been paying close attention to everything.
Some of them had their heads down, taking notes. You could see on their faces just the horror and the, shock that they were in after hearing Crystal Lee's testimony.
So Nikki joins us now with more on how this trial is unfolding. Boy, this testimony is some disturbing stuff. As I understand it, Lee sort of hammered out an agreement with prosecutors. I guess that's why she's so forthcoming about her participation in this.
Right.
Do we know anything about the agreement?
Yeah, in order for her testimony, she agreed to plead guilty to evidence tampering. She only faces right now a maximum of 3 years in prison, despite what she says her involvement is. But if her story falls apart, the deal's off the table, and she'll be sentenced after Patrick Frazee's trial.
Okay, so then Patrick Frazee is obviously going to mount some sort of a defense, and I'm sure her attorneys will be watching very closely because that's what might be able to sabotage her deal, right? So what about his defense? What do we know so far?
So we know his defense actually filed a court document saying they plan to basically point the finger back at Lee. They'll likely say she's a liar. She first said she didn't know Patrick and Kelsey Berreth, and then she did. So it'll really come down to whether or not these juries believe her story, because there's no body and there's no murder weapon. It's really the crux of the case is her testimony.
I know the phrase is no honor among thieves, but in this case, no honor among, well, alleged criminals. We'll say that. Nikki Battiste, thank you so much. Really interesting case.